Welcome back to episode 9 of my campaign game of Stellar Horizons. Going to be doing the 2110s this decade, and I think I'm going to do a little bit different format here for this episode. We did not end up moving to embargo or war with anybody, and I think this decade is going to just be a lot of continued exploration of the outer solar system, as well as resource collecting, especially by South America and Japan doing a lot of resource collecting, and Japan and North America doing a lot of exploration. So I think to speed things up a little bit here, I'm just going to give recaps between years. So I'll show what I'm buying, and then I'll come back and just kind of go through what happened that particular year. I think this decade is going to be much of the same that has been seen for the past several decades. If anything big happens, I'll come back and show you. I'll show when the asteroids and the pirates, when we get to those, I'll show those live. So, having said that, where we're at right now, South America's got bases everywhere. They've got one here in Earth orbit, near Earth asteroids, Mars, Ceres, Europa. They've also got one out on Venus. North America's got bases on Mars, Hygeia Pallis, and Titan. And Japan has them on Hygeia Pallis, as well as Enceladus over here. So factions are starting to look towards the end game here. South America, I think, is going to look at terraforming primarily Venus and Europa, but they do also have options at Ceres as well. That'll probably be another one that they work on. So their whole goal is going to be terraforming those three and building settlements there. North America, they have their base at Titan that they'll be doing that primarily with, and Japan has Enceladus. There is also Mars that North America and South America are currently on that could be terraformed. The other ones that can be terraformed are Ganymede and Callisto here in the Jupiter system. Right now, there's, other than the fact that they can be terraformed and can get points that way, there's really no other reason to go to those moons at the moment. They each do have one exploration left, so it's possible we'll find something there. But for the time being, I think that is those are kind of the lower priority for these factions. So, having said all that, the initiative order for the decade is North America, Japan, South America. We'll go through what I'm planning on building first turn here. For South America, they're going to build their other CV4 here to just do some more mining. They may decommission the CV3 they've got at the end of the decade if it looks like they need the cash and they don't want to support the extra crewed vehicle. But I think for now they're going to build that and get some more resources out of it. Japan is going to buy a orbiter and a probe and a rover and a probe. They do have two LV4s. Right now, and South America's got an LV4 and an LV3. And North America is going to buy their other CV4, primarily to go mine the asteroid that is at Mars, but also just to go mine some resources. They will probably end up decommissioning the CV3 they have that is currently flipped over on Titan right now. They'll resupply it this time around, and use it this decade, but that might be getting decommissioned before the end of the decade. There are two pirates at Saturn. I think, I don't know, the only combat vehicles out right now, Japan does have their combat vehicle at Mars, or at the Comet. It could get out there, and they probably will move it out that way here eventually. It needs to go back to Earth and be resupplied. The two exploration vehicles that North America have, they have combat values, and they're probably high enough combat values to take on the pirates. So I think we'll see an early effort by North America, probably with one of those ships, to go out and try to take on the pirates. And Japan will probably head that way as well, just in case North America does not take care of them. So with that, I will go through. I'll do 2110 here, and then let you know where we're at the end of the turn. All right, so I'm almost at the end of 2110 here. Some things moved around. North America got a few depletions at Ganymede and Haumea, and I think somewhere else out there. Dione. They also depleted on Dione, so they got some good chit pulls there. We're moving on to the base expansion phase, and I thought I would go ahead and show this at least once here. So I think North America and Japan are going to expand their bases out at the Saturn system with a settlement, and then they're also going to start terraforming. So I'll move the camera over here. We'll start with North America. So the bottom right one is their base here at Titan. They're going to spend 2 ore, 2 supplies, and a fuel. Let me get a change for that. And they're going to build a settlement. And then as part of that, they're going to spend 4, and I'll get change for that as well, supply to terraform Titan. And so in total, they just spent 6 supply, 2 ore, and a fuel. And that will increase their settlements to 2, and like that. And so the way I'm going to mark terraforming progress is I've got 20-sided dice here that I'm just going to put out on the worlds on the map. I don't know how well these will show up, but they'll show up better than on the chart, the turn tracker that is not on camera. So hopefully that can be seen kind of, but right now it's at a 1. And the value that we're looking for to get fully terraformed at Titan is 18, and that's the same at Enceladus, which we will go down here to Japan next. And yeah, so same thing. This is their base at Enceladus. They're going to spend 2 ore, get the change for that so I don't forget, and they're going to spend a total of 6 supplies. Oh, they do have a 1 here, so I'll take that. And then a fuel, and they will increase their settlement count to 2, and then they are going to increase the terraforming here by 1. And again, they're looking for 18, and they get points for terraformed settlements at terraformed worlds that are at least half terraformed, so as long as they get up to 9. And then whoever has the most settlements on I think it's a fully terraformed world. Let me check the rules real quick. Let's see here. Okay, so most settlements on a terraformed world, you get 25 points if it's fully terraformed, or I just closed the book. I think it was 10 if it's at least half terraformed. So the idea for at least Japan and North America, and really everybody's trying to do this at this point, but the goal is to get a bunch of settlements on these worlds and terraform them. So again, North America's got Titan, Japan's got Enceladus. South America has several bases, so they'll probably end up doing each one of them more slowly since they're going to be focusing on more than one, but it could pay off for them if the game goes pretty long and nobody challenges them towards the end. So while I won't go through all the details of that in the future, each time I terraform, I'll just note what I've terraformed if anything does indeed get terraformed. But with that, we're moving on now to 2111, and I will show what I'm going to build here. All right, so here's the builds. North America is getting an LV-4. They lost their launch vehicle during the last turn. They're also buying 4 supplies. Japan is buying 8 supplies, and South America is buying 4 fuel, 2 supplies, and 3 ore. So again, I think this is basically how the turns are going to go here. I think there's just going to be a lot of supply and ore and fuel buying, sending them off to bases, and starting the terraforming process, which is fine as a game mechanic, but I think eventually that might get a little old for the video, so I'll just keep abbreviating some of this as we go. Alright, everybody has moved. We are now on to the combat phase, of which we are going to have some. So out there at Saturn, we've got the North American CV-5 trying to engage the pirates. Only one pirate will ever engage at a combat. Alright, so for that combat, we are doing the search roll. Black dice is the pirate. So 8 and a 2, and the North American CV over there does have a fighter drone, so we subtract 1 to that. So it's 8 to 1. There was indeed a search. They have found each other. So 8 minus 1 is 7 at the moment. North America has 7 tactics points, but they do also add a few from technology that they have. They add 1 more, so they will be at 8 tactics points. So they're going to spend 2 of them adding damage and 2 of them negating it to themselves. So we'll roll to see where we are at on the table. So red is North America. They rolled a 3. And on the strike, so it's 3 plus the combat value that they have of 3. So that puts them at 6. That's 0 damage inflicted for a strike. And the pirate did 2 plus the 1, so that's also 0 damage. But North America did use 2 tactic points to increase damage by 2. They only have, or it's a CV2 out there. So let me make sure I did the math right here. Yeah, the pirate rolled a 2. They have a combat value of 1, so that goes to 3, which is 0 damage done. So a CV2 has 2 hit points. They did 2 damage to the pirate, so one of those pirates is gone. It's off camera right now, but every time you add a pirate to the board, you create a pirate cache, which is currently at $12 billion. So North America will collect half of that, as well as a victory point and a politics marker. All right, I'm on the mining part right now, and I had already rolled, but this was for the asteroid here. So North America did collect the asteroid at Mars. They rolled 5, which means they get 4 fuel for that, and a victory point. All right, so we're at the end of 2111. North America got rid of one of the pirates over there. We saw that combat. Excuse me. They harvested the asteroid here at Mars. And yeah, there was some resource collection happening. Japan did terraform Enceladus one more step, and South America began terraforming Venus out here, so it's at 1 currently. And Venus has a maximum value of 18 as well, so they're on their way there. And then moving on to builds at the beginning of 2112, North America rebuying an LV4. They lost theirs last turn, and they're buying 4 ore with it. And that's going to go out to Titan. Japan has actually had bad luck here with their orbiters and rockets this turn. They've lost a few each to malfunction and engine failure. So they're going to, or at least they lost 1 to malfunction? I think 1 to malfunction, and 2 to engine failure, which does not happen very often. But they're going to be buying 2 orbiters, 2 probes, and LV4. They also have an LV4 already, and hopefully these will get out to where they need to go, and they'll be able to use the LV4s for resource transportation in the future. And then South America is buying 5 supplies, and that's going to go to Venus, I think. Either Venus or... yeah, it'll probably be Venus. Europa is the other option, but it's probably Venus. South America is actually in a little bit of a tough spot here, because what they really need to be mining are supplies. And there's nowhere good to do it that they don't already have a base. Looking at the Earth system, there's really nothing with supplies here. Mars is good. It's great, but they have a base there. The main belt itself has a 3, which is okay, but not that great. Ceres is great. It's got a 7, but again, they have a base there. And then at Jupiter, the only place with any real decent supplies out here is Europa, which they already have a base on. They do have a crewed vehicle range of, looking at the tech sheet here, 3. So they don't have any spaceport or anything like that right now at Europa. It's something that they might consider building to extend their range. They could get out to Saturn and start mining supplies on like Enceladus. That would be good. But they don't have the spaceport there right now, and they're at a 0.7 modifier for their transfer time. So it actually takes them a little bit of time still to get out there and back. So I think we're going to see them mining supplies probably at the main belt, which isn't great, but I don't think they have a better option. They are going to try to come out here to Phobos and buy the supplies from the Chinese base. They can buy 4 supplies there. All right, that's the end of the moving for 2112. Just bunch of crew vehicles moving around again. I don't know that there's any real highlights. The CV4 for North America that did collect the asteroid moved to Mars, dropped most of the fuel off, picked up supplies. I think they're going to do the trade marker here this phase to sell fuel. That'll get them some money there. The CV5s for North America at Saturn are going to try to take on the CV2 Pirate. That is not a fleet, so they're going to just try individually. If the one fails to find it, the other one will hopefully find it. The CV4 that's there is hopefully going to get that asteroid after that pirate has been taken care of. Other movement here, Japan dropped off fuel with their CV4 at Enceladus. The CV5 is moving out to Jupiter to explore either Europa or the Trojans and the Greeks. And decided that South America is going to mine for ore at the main belt. Oh, actually, no, take that back. They're going to come over to Hygeia Palace and mine for ore. And they'll just buy supplies as needed. They'd rather mine the ore and buy supplies. So that is their goal. They do have, let's see here, they have crewed vehicles. One's on the way to Venus right now to drop off ore. That one, after it's done, is going to come out here to Phobos and buy the supplies there from the Chinese base. All right, so on to combat. Those CV5s over there are pretty much identical. So the first one there will try to find the pirate. 5 and a 5 that has a fighter drone, so that actually goes down to a 4, which means they have been found. The number of tactics points there for North America is going to be 1 plus their 1 from the tech chart. They're going to use those 2 points to increase damage by 1. So we'll do a roll off to see where we're at on the table. North America rolled a 5. 5 plus the 3 that they have on the card is 8, which puts them in the 1 damage inflicted column or bracket. And then for the pirate, the 2 there, that's not going to do any damage. So that's 2 damage to 0. That will remove the pirate. So that is another victory point. That is another politics marker. And that's half of the remaining pirate cash, which will be 3 billion. Then after that, I'll just move on into the North American CV4 here. It's going to mine that asteroid. So let's see what they end up getting. I need the correct dice for this. All right, 95, no recall, and a 0 is a 10, which is 6 ore. That is quite a bit. And then we'll get another victory token for that. North America is having quite the decade right now. So I'm in the middle of exploration here. Japan just depleted Europa here, so the chance for life is 19%. So I'm gonna see if we get life. 95, nope. I also realized I just did that out of order. The asteroid for North America should be in the production phase with CVs, which is after exploration. So did that out of order, but I don't think it affects anything. All right, so that's the end of 2112. Just more resource mining out there, a few depletions here and there. We did have some more terraforming. South America added one, began there at Europa. Europa needs 20 to be fully terraformed. And North America added another one to Titan, so they're up to 2. I think pretty soon the idea is North America and Japan have now just realized what South America is doing with terraforming and doing bases. I think they're going to be starting their own pretty soon, one at Ganymede and one at Callisto, but I'm not sure what that's going to look like quite yet, but I think that might be the plan for them to each take one of those. So moving on to 2113, the build phase, everybody's just buying supply and ore. Nice thing about South America's ability is that they can buy, normally it's sort of a waste to buy the little rockets because of just the cost to buy the rocket to the amount that it can launch. But that is not true for South America, so they're just going to build an LV-1 and some supplies. Japan buying some supplies. North America buying supplies and an LV-4. Also, North America is buying a telescope and an additional LV-4. All right, so that's the end of 2113. Again, just some resource collection out there. Nothing else too crazy going on. Europa, Enceladus, and Titan have all been terraformed. One more step. Moving on to 2114. Okay, so build phase for 2114. North America is buying a few robotic explorers there, a rover, 2 orbiters, and a probe. Japan buying 8 supplies, and South America buying a fuel and a supply. Alright, so that's the end of 2114. Once again, just exploration, resource mining. Titan, Enceladus, and now Ceres have been terraformed by 1 step each. I feel like I've been losing a lot more robotic explorers to malfunction and engine failures this decade. Now that I'm not taping everything, but North America lost. It was either this turn or last turn, but North America lost a rocket, sending an orbiter and a probe out to Neptune this time. So, with that, moving on to 2115. All right, the only thing anybody's buying right now is North America. They're actually going to buy an LV-4 at Hygeia Palace. So they bought that with resources there. They do have a large spaceport, so they can build that. Okay, I'm midway through exploration. Japan's got another depletion here on Europa, so I'm going to roll for life on camera, and that is a 19 that they need. 65, nope. All right, that's the end of 2115. Again, more resource collection. Enceladus did have another terraforming, and North America went ahead and built a base at Ganymede. So they're going to try to work on both Titan and Ganymede at the same time, which it doesn't mean that another faction can't also go there. So like, this is something I'm not really too sure about. So here on Mars, North America and South America both have bases. They could both be working together, terraforming that, but then they're in competition with each other for the points at the end. So I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's in Japan's interest to go to Ganymede and compete with North America and terraform that together, or if they should go to Callisto to work on their own world. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to have them build on their own separate worlds at the moment. Maybe that'll change later on. Maybe they'll expand elsewhere, but I think that's the plan that they will be doing. And that would be different with more players too, I imagine. The only thing being built here are 6 supplies and 2 ore for North America. They're going to send it out to their new Ganymede base. All right, at the end of 2116, again, not too much happening. Still 1 exploration left here on, Europa. Japan pulled 2 1s for their biology pulls, so nothing there, and they got recalled. Yeah, I think that's about it. Resource collection, 1 terraforming on Ganymede, so starting that up there. And that is it for 2116. Moving on to 2117. All right, the only thing being bought is an LV-4 for North America. They lost another one last time. 7 supply and 1 fuel. And right now, cash remaining, North America's got 8 billion, Japan 6 billion, and South America 6 billion. So they're all just kind of holding on the rest of it there. All right, and at the end of 2117, the only thing that got terraformed 1 step was Ganymede. So right now, again, I don't know how easy it is to tell on camera, but Titan's at 4, Enceladus is at 5, Europa's at 2, Ganymede's at 2, Ceres is at 1, and Venus is at 1. South America's got a lot of resources except for supplies, so they're kind of waiting for supplies to continue building out their bases here. So with that, we'll move on to 2118. The only thing being bought, South America's buying 1 ore, 1 supply, sending that to Mars so that they can buy a mining station. They do want biology research, but I think I need to get the flexibility to get supplies there as well. All right, end of 2118. Japan built a base on Callisto here, and Titan was terraformed 1 more step. For South America, they really need supplies. There are no good locations for their crewed vehicles to go mining for supplies. The best place for them to go is out at Enceladus, and it takes so long to get out there for them because they're at 0.7. And Mars right now for them only has 1 settlement and a spaceport and a research station. So like, I tried sending out the ore and the supply to build a mining base. That rocket blew up on the launch pad. I think they're going to try again to get this supply before the economics phase at the end of the decade. So nothing's happening with that yet. I also think they're going to decommission their Earth orbit base. It's really not doing much for them anymore, and it's costing them a lot of money. So I don't know. I think I might decommission that. I'm not sure. I'm trying to sort of consolidate what South America has here. But anyway, that's the end of 2118. So we're moving on to 2119. This is the last year of the decade. Only purchases being made. North America is buying 2 fuel, 2 supply, and South America is buying 1 supply, 1 ore. And I think as part of the build phase, I'm going to do it. I'm going to decommission the low Earth orbit base for South America. I don't know if that's the right call or not. They did have 4 settlements there. They'll get sent to other places around the solar system. But it's just that base is just not doing much for them anymore. It's costing them a lot of money in the upkeep or the economics phase. So I think they are going to get rid of that. Might be the wrong call. All right, so at the end of 2119, more resource collection. They still have 1 exploration left there on Europa. The lack of getting depletions here on Europa, and especially out at Chariklo with those 2 crewed vehicles from North America, has really been pretty crazy. But you know, it's how the dice roll, and that's how the chits get pulled. So Titan and Ganymede both got 1 extra terraform. So with that, we are moving on into the 2120 economic phase. All right, so first thing we do, collect politics markers. Everybody got 2. South America gets 2 more for their policy, and then North America gets 1 more for their policy. That puts North America at 13, Japan at 9, and South America at 4. All right, we will roll for events. We get 2 of them because it's 2120. The first one is 19. That's minor strikes. Have the resource production of bases this economic phase after all modifiers, and add a damage marker to every mining station and refinery in the game. So I'll go through and add all of the damage tokens to all of the mining stations. So the event has us have the production after modifiers, and one of those modifiers is going to be the actual production. So if a mining station or refinery has damage on it, it produces 1 less, and then we have it. Alright, so nobody's happy about that event there. It's kind of odd. It happens everywhere, across all factions, across the solar system, but that is the event, so we'll have a lot less resource production this coming decade, or coming up here at the beginning of the decade. And then we do roll for 2 events. The other event is 41, and 41 is Private Freight Company. The player with the fewest settlements everywhere can transfer 5 resources this turn, or they can increase their capacity by 5. So let me see who that's going to be. So that'll certainly be South America. They only have, looks like 5 settlements right now. And so they will get to transfer an extra 5 resources this turn. All right, moving on to initiative. Nobody's spending extra points on it. So we'll just do a roll off here. So we'll go in initiative order. North America gets a 58 modified to a 98. They were at plus 40. The other 2 factions are at plus 20. So that is Japan, that's 91. And South America gets a 61. So the order will stay the same: North America, Japan, and then South America. All right, next is diplomacy. We'll see if anybody goes back towards neutral. 8, so nobody goes back to neutral. South America is going to use 1 politics marker, and they're going to try to increase their relationship with Asia. 3, yes. So they are now at free trade with Asia. Japan is going to spend, I think they'll spend 6 politics markers. 1 for China, 1 for Asia, and 1 for Russia. So here's China. No. Here's Asia. Yes. And here's Russia. No. So that puts them at free trade with China, Asia, and Europe right now. And then looking at North America, I know they tried, it was either a decade or two ago, they tried moving to embargo or war with Japan. I think that might be still something they're interested in doing, but I think they might want to build up their fleet a little bit more and maybe get defenses in first, because I think right now, I think Japan is probably in a better spot to be able to get combat-ready vehicles out and about. So I don't know that North America is quite ready for that. So they're going to spend, I think they will spend 3 points in trying to increase with China and Asia. They're already at free trade with China. I think they're going to do Asia and Russia. So here's Asia, yes. And here's Russia. No. So that puts them at collaboration with South America and free trade with China and Asia. All right, moving on to production. I've already done all the calculations here for what each faction is going to get. So North America is collecting 48 billion, Japan is collecting 46 billion, and South America is collecting 38 billion. And so yeah, looking at it, I think they are going to decommission the Mars base early on here. Yeah, it cost them, I think it was $6 billion to operate, because they are currently, I guess it would only cost them $4 billion because they do get rid of their other base at Earth orbit. But it's costing them $4 billion, and I think they're going to focus on their other 3 bases at Venus, Ceres, and Europa, and focus on those, and that way they'll be able to mine resources at Mars as well. Okay, so base resource production. Reminder that everybody is at -1 for having damage on their mining facility, and then halved for the event. So first up is North America. Their base at Mars is going to make, let's see here. So Mars is 8. They have +3 on their refinery, so that's 11, but -1 for the damage goes down to 10. They have 5 settlements there, which adds another one up to 11. And then we have it to 5.5, so they will make 6 supplies there. All right, moving out to Hygeia Palace. That's also 8 base, +3 for the refinery here, so 11. But -1 for the damage is 10. They have 13 settlements there, which puts them at +2, so that puts them at 12, and then halved is 6. And then out at Titan, they're going to be getting fuel, and their base value there is 9. 9 plus the small mining station, so that's nothing extra, that's 9, but -1 for the damage is 8. They have 7 settlements, so that goes back up to 9. And then halved is 4.5, so they will collect 5 fuel at Titan. All right, coming over here to Japan. This is their base at Hygeia Palace. So they're at 8 base value -2, 1 for the damage and 1 because North America is already collected there, so down to 6. 4 settlements add 1, so up to 7, and then halved will put them at 4 ore. And their base at Enceladus is going to look for resources, and they have a base value of 7. -1 for the damage is 6, but then they've got 6 settlements, so that's +1, so back up to 7. Halved to 3.5, rounds to 4. Alright, and finally, for South America, their base here at the near-Earth asteroids, looking for 8 ore, that's their base value. -1 for the damage, and then halved, so they're going to get 4 ore there. The base at Mars is going to make research. I've done the math, they need a little bit more biology to get what they need, so that one's going to do research. The settlement at Ceres is going to be looking for supplies. The value there is 7, -1, and then they have 1 settlement, so that does not give them a bonus, so they'll be at 3 supplies at Ceres. Europa, they're looking for supplies. It's got a base value of 9, and then -1, and then halved, so that'll be 4. And finally, Venus, they'll look for fuel, which is a 9. So again, -1 and halved, so they're looking for 4 fuel there too. The Mars base will produce They have a base value of 8 biology, and that's what they will collect. All right, next up is resource transportation. North America can do 10 based on their tech. Japan can do 15 based on their tech. And South America would normally be allowed 10 based on tech, but they get 15 for the event. North America is going to move all of that supply that you see there at Mars. That's this base here. It's going to move it over to their new base at Ganymede, which is up here. Hopefully that's on camera. Of course it's not. So they moved it up here to Ganymede, and then with the one remaining, they're taking one ore from Hygeia Palace and moving it over to Redstone, which is the Mars base, to repair the damage next turn. So Japan is taking resources from Hygeia Palace and from Enceladus, and they're basically shipping everything out to their new base, which is here. There's nothing there yet, but it's at Callisto, except for one ore is going to go over to Enceladus to help repair the damage there. And South America moved all sorts of stuff around with their 15. Because they got rid of the Earth orbit base, they decided this is the base at the Earth asteroid, near Earth asteroid. Because they got rid of that, the Earth orbit base, they're going to be building a spaceport at the near Earth asteroids, because they're also getting rid of the one they have at Mars. So the near Earth asteroids is going to be where they go to resupply around Earth instead of having to launch every time from Earth. So they're going to build up that spaceport there, and then they just move some other resources around to make sure all the damage gets repaired, and they can start building settlements and terraforming as soon as they start getting a few more resources in. Alright, let's see if we add an NPF base. 81, probably not. Let's take a look where 81 is at. 81 is at Uranus, and that is listed as, let me look a little closer, that is 2120. We are in 2120. So there's going to be a base way, way out there at Uranus. And just drawing from the bag of bases here, it is a European base. So they will be in orbit out there. Put that out there. All right, so that's a base, and we'll add a trade marker to it shortly. All right, 2 asteroids get added. First one is at 64. 64. I've got so much stuff covering all these cards here now. It's probably somewhere around here. Let me take a look. I'll let you know. So 64 is at Titan, so I'll add an asteroid to Saturn shortly. The other one is 88, which is probably, yeah, it's going to be out at Neptune. Yes, Neptune, and Neptune is 2130, so no asteroid added there. And finally, Pirates. Got one at 5, that's going to be Venus. And Pirates are now added at their more difficult side, so they are at a combat value of 3, and they are CV4s, so that might be a little difficult for South America, as they do have a base at Venus. Though I can see, so South America doesn't have any combat vehicles right now. I could see North America or Japan heading that way, just for the victory point and the politics marker. And then the other pirate is 81, I think that's out at Uranus. Yes, it is. So I have added it out there. All right, next are trade markers. The only bases that will not end up getting them are South America's base at the near-Earth asteroids and the new Japanese base that is at Callisto. So here is for Venus. South America's got a base there, so that's going to be a cell fuel. That's pretty handy, though they did move some of the fuel that they had made away, and also they didn't get to make too much of it because of the event that they had, or that everybody had. This is for the North American base on Mars that's selling supplies. That's pretty handy. The Chinese base on Phobos is going to get buy fuel. The South American base on Ceres is sell supplies. The Japanese base on Hygeia Palace gets buy fuel, And the North American base there, Hygeia Palace, gets a by ore. All right, moving on to Jupiter, the South American base at Europa gets a sell supplies. Let's see. This Japanese base does not get one, but there is a North American base here at Ganymede that gets a sell supplies. And then, let's see, I think the base here, yeah, they still have theirs. So just the European base now out at Uranus, and that is going to be buy supplies. All right, moving on to developing technologies. It's pretty much just going to be North America and Japan. I think South America is going to buy exactly one tech, but it's basically by design. They are planning on really just using the techs that they currently have and doing what they can. So I'll see what North America and Japan end up getting, and I will report back when that is done. And here's how many tech points each faction has to work with. Okay, so here are the techs that everybody got. Japan and South America got genetic engineering, whereas North America went down the CV recall rate path there. Over here, Japan did finish off all of the tech in physics, and North America got heliocentric transfers times 0.4, and South America, I think they got +3 to their attack roll. They had enough points for that. And then over here in engineering, not a whole lot. North America did end up getting battleships. Oh, and Japan did get space heavy transport, so they can carry a lot more in their vehicles now. And North America had a few extra points, and they went up to +2 combat tactic points as well. All right, settlement growth time. We'll start here for North America and move that way. So the first one needs a 3, did not get it. The second one there needs a 3. They automatically get 1, but they only get the 1. The next one here at Titan needs a 7, got a 2, so oops, sorry, that'll increase by 1. And then lastly, this one here needs a 3. And they do get a 3. So that is Titan and these 3. I'll figure out which ones those are momentarily. Okay, those have all been upgraded. All right, here at Japan, we need a 4 at Hygeia Palace. Nope, they get an 8. And a 6 at, that's a 7. That was for their base at Enceladus. All right, South America, this is for Mars, needs a 1, got a 9, nope. This is Ceres, and it needs 1. 6, nope. Venus needs a 1. 8, nope. And this base here, which is Europa, needs a 2. They did get a 1. I did just realize that they have the policy that allows them to roll 2 dice and pick which one they want. So I'll just re-roll for all of the ones that missed here. So Mars again, nope. Ceres again, 2, nope. And Venus again, nope. All right, and then finally policies. North America is going to go up the politics marker track here. Japan is going to go up the crew vehicle track. As is South America, they're going to start going up the crew vehicle track as well. So that's where they stand there. And so with that, that is the end of the episode. We're at the end of the economics phase here at 2120, and we'll get going with the rest of the decade in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and looking forward to the next one.